Hello everyone, we are from Tutorial 3 Group 3. Before we get started, here our member and I will be the first presenter. So let's take a look on question 1. How does the concept of a global village affect organization and managers? I will explain the concept of a global village first and then its impact on organization and managers later. What is concept of global village? Global village is a world without border where product and services can be created and sold globally. Imagine this, a world without border where people, product and services flow freely across the globe. In this world, business can create and sell product anywhere, reaching customer no matter where they live. How does it affect on organization? The first one is access international market. Access international market is when they trade goods and services with customers in other countries. Geographic border mean little when it comes to doing business. For example, I just the picture here, McDonald's. So McDonald's here is a company, American company, has successful entered international market by adapt its menu, marketing and operational to local taste and culture. Second one, establish financial globalization. Financial globalization is when organization use financial source and resources outside its home country. Apple is a prime example of a company with a highly complex global supply chain. Apple design its product in California, but it sources part from around the world. So the third one is work with talent from around the world. Google, a subsidiary of Alphabet Inc., is one of the most well-known tech company globally, and it has a diverse and expensive workforce. Google employs tens of thousands of people from different countries, allowing it to tap into vast pool of skill and expertise. These include software engineers, product managers, marketers, and researchers from around the world. But immigration law and regulation often limit their ability to hire the talent they need. Now, let's look at how the concept of a global village impact manager. Firstly, cultural sensitivity. Manager today must be culturally aware and respectful of diverse cultural difference. A great example is McDonald's in India. Unlike in other country, McDonald's doesn't serve beef or pork in India to respect local dietary preference and religious belief. Second one is adaptability to global event. Manager must be prepared to respond quickly to international event that can disrupt their operation. A recent example of this is COVID-19 pandemic. The third one is law and regulation. Manager must be aware of a country laws when doing business. Some law apply across border like data protection in the European Union. Manager need to ensure their business meet this rule or face penalty.
Hi, my name is Magdalene, and today I would like to describe the different types of global organization and the ways that organization can go global. First, we have multinational corporation, which is the big companies that do business in many countries but have one main headquarters where the big decisions are made. While they are global, they may adjust product a bit to fit each country. For example, in Malaysia we have Nestle, where it is first based in Switzerland, but in Malaysia, Nestle sell Milo and Maggi to fit what Malaysian love. Second, we have multi-domestic corporation, whereas the companies are also in many countries, but they treat each one separately to fit in with the local culture. They adjust the product and age to feel relevant and familiar for each place. For example, KFC in Malaysia, they sell spicy fried chicken and porridge to match Malaysian taste, showing the gates what locals enjoy. Third, we have transnational organization, where these companies try to balance being efficient worldwide with being flexible for each local market. They work like they belong everywhere equally and aim to fit with different countries' needs. For example, Samsung in Malaysia sells the same product, but their aids and customer service here feel more different compared to Samsung aids in other countries. Lastly, we have global corporation, whereas global corporation have location worldwide, but they mostly keep things the same in every country to keep the brands consistent. They focus on one main approach from their home country without a lot of changes for local market. For example, IKEA in Malaysia sells same product and store layout no matter where you go, making it feel like IKEA experience wherever you are. So next, we have 6 ways organization can go global. First one is global sourcing, whereas we're getting materials part or labor from other countries to reduce costs and improve quality. Second is exporting and importing, whereas exporting, we sell product made at home to customers in other countries, while importing, we buy product from other countries to sell or use at home. Third is licensing, whereas we allow a foreign company to produce and sell our product in exchange for fees. So the next one we have franchising, whereas we give a business in another country the right to open stores and operate under our brand and business model. Next one we have joint venture, whereas we will partnering with a foreign company to start a new business, together sharing profit and risk. Lastly is foreign subsidiary, whereas we set up or buying a business in another country that we fully own and control.
Next, we move on to the next question. Should manager be partialistic? Why and why not? My answer for this question is no. So, firstly, I'm going to explain what is partialism. Partialism is a narrow focus in which managers see things only through their own eyes and from their own perspective. They don't recognize that people from other countries have different ways of doing things. This view cannot succeed in a global village. In order to change such a perception requires understanding that every countries have different cultures and environments. So I will explain three aspects on why managers should not be partialistic. The first aspect is globalization. For example, in order to widen the market opportunities, globalization will open up to access to international market, while a partial perspective may limit a manager's ability to recognize and capitalize on these opportunities, which will resulting in loss of revenue and growth potential. Another example is in terms of cultural sensitivity. As we know, understanding and respecting diverse cultures is crucial for effective management in a global context. Partial approach can lead to misunderstandings, ineffective communication, and also will damage relationships with clients and partners from different backgrounds. And if manager being partialistic, lack of global perspective can leave a company exposed to local economic downturn without the buffer of international operation. For the second aspect on why managers should not be partialistic is employee engagement. For example, in terms of diverse workforce needs, each employees come from various backgrounds and have different motivations. A partial approach may overlook the diverse needs and perspective of team members, which can lead to disengagement and dissatisfaction. Next, in terms of collaboration and inclusion, emphasizing a narrow viewpoint can create an environment where not all voices are heard. This can reduce collaboration and limit innovative ideas that arise from diverse input. Last aspect is innovation. For example, in terms of competitive advantage, companies that embrace a global perspective can identify emerging trends and technologies from different markets. Managers with a limited focus may miss out on valuable insight that could drive innovation and keep the organization competitive. Next, in terms of adaptability to change, a broader view allows managers to anticipate changes in the market and respond proactively. Partialism can lead to an inability to adapt, making it difficult for the organization to change when necessary. The organization may struggle to develop new products, services, or processes, resulting in stagnation and loss of market relevance. It also can lead to missed opportunities for partnership, new markets, or technological advancement.
For my slide, I'm going to present how might the cultural differences in the globe dimension affect how managers by reward outstanding employee performance. We have 5: power distance, uncertainty avoidance, performance orientation, human orientation, in-group collectivism. Power distance. High power distance accept and expect hierarchy and authority differences. Employee may avoid challenging or giving direct feedback to managers. They prefer formal recognition, titles, and praise from higher ups, common in culture like Latin America and Asia. Low power distance prefer equally and minimize power differences. Employee feel more comfortable sharing opinions with manager. Favor informal rewards, team recognition, and collaborative work, common in culture like Netherlands. Uncertainty avoidance. High uncertainty avoidance prefer stability, order, and clear rules to avoid risk and prefer detailed instruction, comfortable with routines and structured environment, common in countries like Japan. Low uncertainty avoidance, comfortable with flexibility, change, and ambiguity. Open to risk, innovation, and new ideas. To adapt quickly to new situations and values autonomy. Common in countries like Singapore, Denmark, and UK. Performance orientation. High performance orientation value result, achievement, and high standard. Prefer rewards tied to individual performance. They focus on competence, efficiency, and measurable outcome. Common in countries like US. Low performance orientation value relationship, well-being, and work-life balance. Prefer reward for loyalty, effort, and teamwork. Emphasize group harmony and process over strict result. Common countries like Russia. Human orientation. High human orientation value kindness, generosity, and concern for others. Focus on social responsibility and ethical practice. Rewards recognize helpfulness, teamwork, and community contribution. Common in countries like Philippines. Low human orientation value independence, self-interest, and individual achievement. Focus more on competitive performance than on social support. Reward emphasize personal success and productivity, common in countries like Germany. In-group collectivism. High in-group collectivism emphasize loyalty and strong relationship with social group, prioritize group goals and well-being over individual ambitions, reward focus on collective achievement and support. Common countries like Mexico and India. Low in-group collectivism prioritize individuals' goal and achievement over group loyalty, less emphasis on supporting group dynamic, where relationship may be more transactional, reward focus on personal accomplishment, and individual recognition, common in countries like United States and Canada.
Greetings to all. My name is Ikram. I will present question number 4. What are the managerial implications of Hofstede's research on cultural environments, and what is the globe study? Who is Geert Hofstede? Geert Hofstede was a Dutch social psychologist renowned for his pioneering research on cross-cultural groups and organizations. He developed one of the earliest and most influential frameworks for understanding cultural differences, known as Hofstede's cultural dimensions theory. Geert-Hofstede's framework is one of the most widely referenced approaches for analyzing cultural variations. An eliminating study of differences in cultural environments was conducted by Geert-Hofstede in the 1970s and 1980s. He surveyed more than 116,000 IBM employees in 40 countries about their work-related values and found that managers and employees vary on 5 dimensions of national culture. So this is five of Hofstede's 5 dimensions of national culture. Number one is power distance. Number two is individualism versus collectivism. Number three, achievement versus nurturing. Number four, uncertainty avoidance. Number five, long-term versus short-term orientation. Although Hofstede's work has provided the basic framework for differentiation among national cultures, but most of the data are over 30 years old. So, another more recent research program called Global Leadership and Organizational Behavior Effectiveness, or GLOBE, was created. What is GLOBE? GLOBE is an ongoing cross-cultural investigation of leadership and national culture, using data from more than 7,000 managers in 62 societies around the world. The GLOBE research team, led by Robert House, has identified 9 dimensions on which national cultures differ. This is the 9 dimensions of GLOBEs. Number one is assertiveness. How much society can encourage people to be strong, aggressive, assertive, and competitive. Number two is future orientation, the degree to which a culture promotes and rewards action that are focused on the future. Number three, gender differentiation, the degree to which a culture emphasizes the distinction between gender roles. Number four, uncertainty avoidance, the term describes how society relies on social rules and practice. Number five, power distance, defined as the extent to which people in a society and anticipate that power will be distributed unfairly. Number six, individualism and collectivism, the degree to which a nation's citizens prefer to behave as individuals rather than as members of organization. Number seven, in-group collectivism. In contrast of focusing on societal institutions, this dimension encompasses the extent to which members of society take pride in membership in small groups such as their family and circle of close friends and the organizations in which they are employed. Number eight, performance orientation. These dimensions refer to the degree which society encourage and reward group members for performance improvement and excellence. Number nine and last, human orientation. This cultural aspect is the degree to which a society encourages and rewards individuals for being fair, generous, caring, and kind to others. So this is the impact on cultural environment. Number one is leadership and decision making. In high power distance culture, managers should expect to make decisions with little input from subordinates who may prefer clear directives. In low power distance culture, a participative leadership style is more effective with managers involving employees in decision-making process. Number two is team dynamics. In individualism culture, managers should focus on individual achievement and personal incentive. People value autonomy and personal goals. In collectivism cultures, managers should emphasize team success and group harmony. Number three is risk management. In high uncertainty avoidance culture, managers should provide clear guidelines, detailed planning, and risk management strategies. In low avoidance and uncertainty avoidance, managers can encourage innovation, flexibility, and risk taking, since employees are more comfortable with ambiguity and change. Lastly, gender role. In high differentiations gender role culture, manager might encounter traditional gender roles and should be aware of these dynamics when assigning tasks and responsibilities. In low differential gender culture, managers can promote gender equality and ensure that roles are assigned based on skills.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Maafi bin Aminuddin. So now we'll be elaborating on how might the cultural differences in the globe dimensions affect on how managers do four things. So the first one is use work groups. Second one is develop goals or plans. Reward outstanding employee performance, and the last one will be deal with employee conflicts. So now moving on to the first question. How might the cultural differences in the globe dimensions affect on how managers use work groups? So what is a work group? Work group is a group of people who collaborate to achieve a specific goal or project within an organization. So work groups function is mainly beneficial for the managers as it can improve productivity and foster innovation among its employees. Now moving on to the main points, starting off with power distance. So in cultures with high power distance, manager may use work groups in a more hierarchical way with clear authority and decision making centered at the top. So this is a scenario where power distance among employees and its managers are distance really far. So the authority and the power decision making is mainly forced by the managers. So the lower employee will expect to have direction from the manager and be less inclined to challenge decisions. However, in low power distant cultures, work groups are often more egalitarian, where managers may foster open dialogue and the employees could contribute ideas freely and delegate authority within the team. So now moving on to the next point, where uncertainty avoidance. So in cultures where there is a high tolerance for uncertainty, so managers may implement structured processes where use detailed planning for its employees and avoid having more flexible timetable and work tasks. So with this, they can provide extensive guidelines and truly focus on just detailed planning and focus on fostering it efficiently. Next, for the cultures with low uncertainty avoidance, managers might adapt more flexible approaches, allowing more groups to adapt quickly and rely on informal communications. So this way, they can provide and assess their employee to have more fostering in innovations. Now on to the next point, which is assertiveness. So in highly assertive cultures, managers might encourage competitiveness and direct communication within work groups. So this is where the team members may openly express opinions even if it leads to conflict, as it is seen as a path to innovations. Whereas in low assertiveness cultures, managers may emphasize harmony and politeness in communication. So this is where they focus on building relations and maintaining their group harmony. The next point is gender egalitarianism. So in cultures with high gender egalitarianism, managers will likely to promote equal participation in work groups regardless of gender and encourage diverse viewpoints. So gender equality in decision making is valued and work groups are typically more balanced. However, in societies with lower gender egalitarianism, they may be traditional gender roles affecting group dynamics. Like the man should do the physical chores, whereas the woman would do the tasks regarding on logistics and social matters. So managers might give preferential roles based on gender, and participation in groups may vary according to social norms.
However, the cultural differences in the group dimension effect on how managers develop goals or plans and values in four key dimensions related to this individualism versus collectivism can significantly influence on how managers develop goals and plans. In individualistic cultures, Western Europe managers tend to emphasize personal achievement, autonomy, and individual goals. They are more likely to set goals that focus on individual performance, career progression, and personal responsibilities. But otherwise, in collectivist cultures, such as Japan, many Asian managers often focus on group harmony, teamwork, and collective success. Goals are typically framed around group achievements, collaboration, and the level of the team or organization as a whole. In summary, individual cultures prioritize personal success in goal setting, while collectivist cultures focus more on group-focused collaborative efforts. So for the second one, future orientation. Future orientation is a society values planning for the future, delay gratification, and utilization that benefit the long term rather than focusing on immediate outcomes. In high future-oriented culture, there is strong emphasis on long-term planning, integration, and preparation for future success. But in low future-oriented culture, there is more focus on present circumstance, short-term result, and maintaining traditional way of doing things. In countries with high future orientation such as Germany, Singapore, and Japan, there is strong focus on long-term goals, careful planning, and delayed rewards. These cultures value the importance of making decisions that will benefit the future, even if it requires sacrificing short-term gains. Managers in high future orientation cultures tend to set long-term strategic goals that focus on sustainability, innovation, and growth. So planning is often detailed with a clear vision for the growth. In countries with low future orientation, such as Asia, Brazil, and many Arab cultures, there is more emphasis on short-term goals, flexibility, and immediate results. These cultures often prioritize current opportunities and create rewards rather than long-term planning. But the impact on goal setting in low future orientation culture, managers focus on setting short-term achievable goals. The emphasis is on quick wins, adapting to immediate challenges, and responding to current demands. Goals may focus on immediate profit, quick market, share good, or responding to short-term customer needs. There is less emphasis on detailed long-term plans. But for future orientation of how managers set goals focus further on long-term success or short-term results. In high future orientation cultures, managers set strategic long-term goals, while in low future orientation cultures, the emphasis is on quick win and immediate. So we move to the third one, which is assertiveness. Assertiveness is a society values assertive behavior such as directness, self-promotion, and the pursuit of personal success. In high assertiveness cultures, people are encouraged to be ambitious, competitive, and take charge. While in low assertiveness cultures, there is more emphasis on modesty, cooperation, and maintaining harmony in interaction. So in fact, in goal setting high assertiveness such as the United States, Germany, managers often focus on individual achievement, competition, and personal success. These cultures encourage people to stand out, take risks, and be ambitious in their personal and professional goals. Goals in high assertiveness culture are typically competitive and performance-driven. Managers will set ambitious targets such as striving for market dominance, top-tier performance, and individual leadership. Employees are encouraged to be confident, self-promote, and take ownership of their goals. With low assertiveness such as Sweden, Norway, and the Netherlands, there is greater emphasis on cooperation, humility, and maintaining balance in relationships. People in these cultures are expected to be modest, focus on group success, and avoid excessive competition or self-promotion. In this culture, goals tend to be team-oriented and collaborative. Managers will set goals that emphasize working together, ensuring that the focus is less on aggressive personal achievement and more on focusing supportive the work making the team can succeed as a whole. So assertiveness impacts on how managers set goals based on how ambition and competition are valued in different cultures. In high assertiveness cultures, managers focus on individual achievement, while in low assertiveness cultures, the emphasis is on teamwork and harmony. Understanding these differences help managers create more effective goals and a strategy across a global context. Okay, so now one of the key cultural dimensions identified in the group study is gender egalitarianism, which measures the extent to which a society minimize gender role differences and promote equality between men and women. High gender egalitarianism indicates that society encourages equal opportunities and equal rights for both gender, while low gender egalitarianism suggests that traditional gender roles are more strongly emphasized, which is men. So now connect gender egalitarianism direct to goals that we are planning in a managerial context. A society with high gender egalitarianism will likely have goals that promote gender equality in leadership, decision making, and career progression. While in society with low gender egalitarianism, this goal may not be as explicitly prioritized. Impact on group setting in cultures with high gender egalitarianism, managers are more likely to set goals that encourage gender neutral leadership and promote policies like parental leave, equal pay, and career advancement opportunities for all genders. They may also focus on training programs to eliminate gender biases in hiring and promotion. These goals are often strategic, focusing on creating an equitable workplace that values all employees equally. On the other hand, in cultures with low gender egalitarianism, managers may need to adjust their plan to account for gender expectation in leadership roles. For example, they might set goals to address gender disparities, such as increasing the number of women in leadership positions or expanding career opportunities for women. But still, this goal may be seen as challenging societal norms and may fear resistance. Okay, so to wrap up, gender egalitarianism is an influential factor for managers to consider when setting goals and making plans, especially in a global environment. Being aware of how different cultures view gender roles help managers create more inclusive leadership and build a place where everyone, regardless of gender, has equal opportunities, and a workplace where everyone, regardless of gender, has equal opportunity to succeed. Understanding these differences can lead to better decision making and a more positive work environment for all employees.
Hello everyone, I am Nursa Najwa and I am going to talk about how might the cultural differences in the global dimensions affect how managers deal with employee conflict. So here I'm going to explain 6 points. Firstly, power distance. In cultures with high power distance, employees may expect conflicts to be resolved by authority figures rather than addressing them directly with peers. Managers in high power distance culture might take a more directive approach in issuing decisions rather than encouraging open discussion. In low power distance cultures, managers are more likely to facilitate discussions between employees, promoting a collaborative resolution. Moving on to the second point, in high uncertainty avoidance cultures, employees may prefer structured conflict resolution processes with clear guidelines. Managers here might use formal procedures and clear policies to avoid ambiguity. In low uncertainty avoidance cultures, managers could be more flexible, encouraging spontaneous discussions or creative solutions. Next, assertiveness. In highly assertive cultures, managers may approach conflict more directly, promoting open exploration of differences and even competitive solutions. In less assertive cultures, managers might prefer diplomatic approaches, using softer communication to avoid confrontations. So as for performance orientation, in cultures that are highly performance oriented, conflicts may be resolved ways that prioritize productivity and outcomes. Managers might emphasize merit-based solutions, focusing on solutions that boost performance. In low performance oriented cultures, managers may be more inclined to consider social relationships and the individual needs of employees in resolving conflicts. For future orientation, managers in high future oriented cultures may approach conflict with a long term perspective, aiming to foster sustainable relationships and focusing on conflict prevention. In contrast, managers in low future oriented cultures may address conflict more reactively, focusing on immediate solutions without extensive emphasis on long term implications. And lastly, human orientations. So, in the cultures with high human orientation, managers tend to handle conflicts with empathy, prioritizing social harmony and the welfare of employees. So, they may use conflict as an opportunity to demonstrate care and compassion. In low human orientation cultures, managers might approach a conflict more objectively, focusing on policies and procedures rather than individual welfare. So, by understanding these dimensions, can help managers to tailor their conflict resolution strategies to align with the cultural values of their team. Ultimately, it will foster more effective and harmonious workplace.
Now let's take a look on case application 1. Global control, the challenge of adapting to industry change. Here is the summary. EV charging stations are becoming common, signaling a shift in the auto industry toward electric vehicles. EV are expected to cost the same as gas car by 2025 and make up a third of vehicles globally by 2040. Reduced oil demand from EV will impact all exporting countries with increased demand for lithium-ion batteries instead. Lithium-ion batteries need cobalt, primarily sourced from Congo, with China as the largest consumer. Chinese company control early step in battery production, refining over 75% of cobalt chemical. Contemporary Upright Technology Ltd (CATL) is China leading EV battery producer and aim to be the world largest. CATL is building a massive battery complex in China set to surpass Tesla gigafactory in scale. Currently, CATL's business is mainly in China but is expanding internationally, especially in Europe and the US. CATL's success in global market without Chinese government support remain uncertain. How does the story illustrate a global village? This idea of a global village emphasizes how the world is interconnected with country, industry, and resources working together on a global scale. First, there's a growing global demand for electric vehicles. Key markets like Europe, the US, and China are leading the way in adopting it. This shift is reducing our reliance on oil, but it's also creating a high demand for batteries. This demand has led to a shift to a battery-based industry. Lithium-ion batteries are crucial for EV, and one of their key components is cobalt. Interestingly, a significant amount of the world's cobalt comes from Congo, making this country a critical supplier in global EV battery market. Next, let's talk about China's role in battery production. Chinese companies like CATL are major players in the battery manufacturing industry. They depend on cobalt from Congo, showing how resources from one continent connect with industry on another. CATL isn't only producing battery in China, they are undergoing global expansion, establishing the world's largest EV battery complex in China and expanding operation to places like Germany and Finland in Europe, as well as the US. Finally, this story represents a global village nation. We see interconnected resources, industry, and country working together to support the global shift to clean energy. This collaboration across border highlight how different parts of the world contribute to achieving a shared goal of sustainable future. Using STV31, what approach is China CATL using to go global? CATL has chosen the foreign subsidiary approach to expand internationally, establishing office and production facility in key markets like Germany, Finland, and US. This strategy allows them to have high level of commitment and control, ensuring quality and efficient production to meet the rising demand for EV battery. By investing in infrastructure abroad, CATL aims to reduce the reliance on the Chinese market and position itself as a global leader in the EV battery industry. This approach reflects their commitment to securing a stable market presence and achieving sustained global growth.
Next, we move on to the next question. What kind of M and C do you think CATL is? And explain your choice. M- MNC is multinational corporation. There are four types of it, which is decentralized, global centralized, international, and transnational. So for my answer is, I think CATL would be classified as global centralized MNC. The reason for CATL being a global MNC is because they have centralized HQ. CATL's strategy and decision making are strongly influenced by its China headquarters, like for example, in terms of product development, overall direction, and major partnership. For the next point is standardized product. CATL provides mostly standardized EV batteries and energy storage system to global customers, meaning that the same product set is sold in various international markets with limited customization. And then global expansion with uniform strategy. CATL's expansion into different markets like Europe and other parts of Asia typically follow the same strategy to establish production facilities, secure major partnership with car manufacturers, and focus on scaling up battery production rather than significantly adapting its operation to each region.
How would Hofstede's dimensions of national culture and globe findings be useful to Cattle's management as it moves to Europe and eventually the United States? So firstly, the power distance. In Europe and the US, power distance is generally lower compared to China, especially in countries like Germany, where employees tend to expect a more egalitarian and participative work culture. So what CATLs need to do is that CATLs managers may need to adjust their leadership style to align with Western expectations. So they have to promote open communication and value more on employee input in these regions than they might in China. So understanding this could help CATL in establishing effective leadership structures and avoid potential employee dissatisfaction in Western subsidiaries. Now on to this next point, the second point, long-term orientation versus the short-term orientation. So first, in China, long-term orientation is highly valued where CATL operate. So they have perseverance and future rewards are emphasized, and aligning with CATL's ambitious goal to be the global leader in battery production. However, in US, they had a short-term orientation where immediate results and quarterly performance can carry the way. So they had to adapt with US term orientations. Whereas in Europe, they has a mix with countries like Germany and Nordic nations, so they often displaying longer-term planning tendencies. So it tends to match the CATL's ambitious goal in operating in long-term orientations. So they had to adapt with US term orientations. In Europe, adjusting this approach to country-specific orientations can help CATL build trust with local stakeholders. In Europe,
So for question 318A, does this respond by this company fall under the classical view of social responsibility or the socio-economic view of social responsibility explains? For classical view, the business focus on profit maximization and responsibility to shareholders. Ethical and social issues are secondary unless they are impact in profitability. For socio-economic view, balance profit with social welfare, considering the impact on broader range of stakeholders. So I think the answer for this question is socio-economic view of social responsibility. Since the company avoiding corporate suppliers who buy from creditors, especially those employing child labor, these companies are acknowledging the ethical implication of the SIA supply chain decision. They are taking a stance against practices that harm children and fail to provide safety working conditions. This approach aligns with the socio-economic view as it protects software and ethical rather than maximizing their profit.
So now, case application number 2, serious about sustainability. So the summary is, the Keurig K-Cup created in 1992 by John Sullivan provided a quick single-serve coffee solution. The easy, efficient design made K-Cup widely popular, with 1 in 3 homes now owning a Keurig machine. Keurig Gold is a Keurig brewer on every counter. They expanded into cold drinks by partnering with Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper's Snapper. K-Cup are single-use and mostly non-recyclable. In 2014, 9.8 billion K-Cups sold, creating significant landfill waste. Environmentalists and the virus Kill the K-Cup video criticized Keurig for waste, sparking calls for recyclable option. Keurig promised fully recyclable K-Cup by 2020, though critics say the plastic used may never be fully recyclable. Keurig 2017 report shows progress on environmental goals and an acquisition of Dr. Pepper Snapple to expand product offering. Supporters argue a K-Cup may save energy and water compared to other coffee methods, though waste remains an issue. Now, the question is, what global issues do you see here? What ethical or social responsibility issue do you see here? Now, let's first go to global issues. We have 3 main points here, which is plastic waste pollution, whereas billions of non-recyclable K-Cups sold manually, waste accumulates in landfills, contributing to global plastic pollution. Next is environmental of non-sustainable product, whereas single-use pots create long-lasting environmental damage due to non-biodegradable material. Lastly is resource inefficiency. Single-use pots lead to excessive resource use over the time given the continual purchase requirement. As for ethical and social responsibility issues, we have corporate responsibilities, whereas Keurig slow response in transitioning the recyclable option despite knowing the environmental impact. Next is accountability in product design, whereas failure to prioritize sustainability in initial product design raises question about Keurig commitment to social responsibility. Lastly is consumer deception, whereas the emphasis on convenience and efficiency may distract from the environmental costs, leaving consumers unaware of the waste impact. The next question is, what do you think the statement environmental awareness is never a bad thing means? It means that we can promote responsible consumption because it will help us to be more thoughtful in how we consume products, and it also reminds us to be consider the impact of the things we buy and use. Next is we can hold companies accountable, whereas it will encourage companies to make more eco-friendly choices. It also will create public pressure on companies to act responsibly.
These three design for various issues including environmental impact, particularly the waste generated by single-use plastic pots, and ethical concern regarding sourcing practices. Other critics overreacting. This may not be overrated, which are focused on legitimate environmental and social issues. Single-use pots, for example, are not biodegradable, contributing to substantial plastic waste. Critics argue that these environmental consequences affect representing all key types of global vitality. However, some argue that these actions may not be sufficient as many consumers lack access to appropriate recipe facilities and the process to recycle key cups can also be complicated. So, Courage should focus on compostable pots, which is developing fully compostable or biodegradable coffee pots would be a more environmentally friendly option. This will show that the company prioritizes sustainability over the convenience of recycling rate. By implementing these practices can be motivated with reputation that align more closely with ethical and sustainable business practices, differentiates the different purpose and economic and more responsible approach to single-use products.
Courage proposed action best described as social obligation, social responsiveness, or social responsibility. While social obligation means only basic ethical, legal, and economic requirement doesn't exceed societal expectation. For social responsiveness, proactively adapts to social norms and value. They respond to emerging social issues and trends. For social responsibility, commits to ethical and sustainability initiative, prioritizing the well-being of stakeholders beyond economic gains. First, social obligation. This means courage is only what it has to do by law. For example, if they make their coffee pot recyclable just because the law say they have to, that's social obligation. For social responsiveness, this means courage is responding to what people want or expect. For instance, if customer and environment groups start complaining about waste and courage then decide to make their pot recyclable to keep people happy, that's social responsiveness. They're reacting to pressure from society. Social responsibility. This means courage is going above and beyond what's required or expected. If they decide their own to make a big effort to help the environment, like creating a plan to make all their product eco-friendly or partnering with groups that protect environment, this is social responsibility. They are taking action because they genuinely want to make a positive impact for people.
So the ethical factors in this scenario are significant as they involve issues related to child labor, worker safety, and exploitation. Social responsibility in this context involves recognizing these ethical concerns and addressing them in business practices. So for the first point, child labor, using child labor in cobalt mining raises severe ethical concerns. Children working in dangerous environments without proper safety equipment is a violation of human rights and exploitation of vulnerable populations. Socially responsible companies will avoid contributing to such practices and might even seek to support initiatives that provide safe and age-appropriate employment alternatives for these communities. Second, worker safety. The fact that minors, including children, work without safety masks or other protective equipment means that these workers face serious health risks and the potential for lifelong injuries. A responsible company would consider whether the products they purchase were sourced in a manner that respects basic safety standards and would avoid suppliers that jeopardize a worker's health. Next, companies that adopt a socio-economic view of social responsibility may choose to work only with suppliers who adhere to certain labor and safety standards. They might also support efforts to improve mining conditions, invest in initiatives that encourage safe, ethical labor practices in this industry. As for long-term societal impact, supporting unethical cobalt suppliers can perpetuate cycles of poverty, poor education, and health risk in communities reliant on mining. Companies have a responsibility to consider the long-term societal impact of their business decisions and work toward sustainable practices that improve conditions for all stakeholders. So, in conclusion, this scenario demonstrates that ethical considerations such as child labor, worker safety, and the overall societal impact of business practices are essential components of social responsibility. Companies that choose to avoid unethical suppliers show a commitment to social responsibility, aligning with the socio-economic view by prioritizing the welfare of people and communities alongside their profit and goals.